I hate to say it, but then again, maybe I don't hate to say it. I'm always right. I spent enough time in Washington, D.C. over the last many years to know the way it works, just how corrupt it is, how everything's wired. Let's talk about the latest outrage. Hunter Biden has just pled to a couple misdemeanors for his violations of tax laws, of other laws, gun laws, and you name it, completely overlooking the bribery, completely overlooking the corruption of the Biden crime family. Who did this? A U.S. attorney by the name of Weiss. He's no Miami Vice. He's a hack Weiss. This is what we're dealing with, as I always say. This is the corruption. Joe Biden, the brain-dead criminal, the disgusting individual that he is, will walk off smiling. He doesn't know where he is, but he'll be smiling. He's home free. His son is home free. Well, they're not home free with Freedom Watch. We've been trying them. We've been a little bit delayed in getting out the decision because of some personal issues with the people that were involved in that trial. It will be done quickly. I promise you that. We expect a conviction. We think that's likely to occur. We will sentence Biden and his son Hunter and his brother James for bribery from communist China, Russia, Ukraine. We will ask the citizens judge to do it. We will then seek to carry it out. We will seek to have law enforcement and the military carry it out. And at the end of the day, the American people even have a right of citizens arrest. We'll always be peaceful, will not be physical. But we're at the point where this country's about ready to rise up. No one has respect for the government. No one can believe a word it says. I don't care whether you're talking about Democrat or Republican. Our government is corrupt top to bottom. So when you saw the peaceful protesters of January 6th, it wasn't just about Donald Trump and the fact that the election was stolen in 2020. It was about the corruption that has built up over the last many decades. And yet it was peaceful. But the government fears the people. In fact, it was Jefferson said that when the people fear the government, there will be tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there'll be liberty. This is what we need to do. They need to fear us en masse. This latest outrage tells you everything. And forget about the dog and pony shows of the Republican committees on Capitol Hill. It's just for show. It's not for dough. Well, it actually is for dough because they use that to raise money and to, again, defraud the American people into thinking that the Republicans will actually do something about cleaning up the rampant corruption in our so-called government. We at Freedom Watch are using citizens' grand juries, citizens' trials to carry out the rule of law. We are intervening in cases, as we're going to do with the amicus filings in Florida with regard to the illegal indictment and prosecution of President Trump over the Mar-a-Lago document scam. We are active. We just don't get documents. We do other stuff. We actually bring hard-hitting cases and trials. So I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org, sign up for our Justice League, contribute with tax-deductible contributions. Get my book, It Takes a Counter-Revolution. Wake up, America. We just can't sit around and talk. The time for talk is over. It's time for action before this country goes down finally for the count. With the grace of God and the divine providence of the Father and Son, we will prevail. But if we do nothing, if we just sit around waiting for things to get better, they're not. They're going to get worse because the people who are in charge of this government, both Democrat and Republican, are corrupt to the core. They're a bunch of liars. They're a bunch of snake oil salesmen, and they're a bunch of fraudsters, both sides. The Democrats are pure evil. They're socialists, they're communists, they're atheists. They're every radical group you can imagine. They're destroying our country inside and out. And it's not just the use of the Justice Department as a Gestapo. It's not just the open borders and the rampant crime. It's not just pushing off perverted ideologies and lifestyles on children behind the backs of parents. It's not just demoralization of our military. We have serious problems in terms of national defense and foreign policy. Look at what Biden has done in just 2.5 years. First, there was Afghanistan and the betrayal of Americans and Afghanis in Afghanistan and the negligence homicide of 13 GIs based upon Biden's negligence. Look at China. He's bought and paid for by the Chinese as an employee. Chinese do whatever they want. They're about ready to invade Taiwan. We have computer chip facilities there. The country is really going to be brought to its knees if the Chinese get control of that. You've got Russia and Ukraine, where Biden sat around playing patty cakes with his hands on his private parts, literally playing with himself as the Russians moved in. And now we have a major war. He could have nipped it in the bud if he was stronger up front. Look at the nuclear weapons that are proliferating all over the world, in North Korea and in Iran and elsewhere. This country is not just on the verge of destruction, but the entire world, because we're long overdue for a nuclear accident or something, a miscalculation, and we will be drawn further into a war. You cannot leave this man in power for much longer, legally and peacefully. And the Republicans, they just play games. It's all about raising money and acquiring power. And then when they get power, they do little to nothing. So go to freedomwatchusa.org, join our cause, contribute with tax-deductible contributions, get to work, and help us also with our Third Continental Congress, where we're declaring independence, a new government and not a new nation, taking immunity away from federal judges and government officials, holding them accountable, just like the rest of us, having honest judges who are elected, not appointed with political campaign contributions, otherwise known as bribery. There are some good federal judges, but not in Washington, D.C., New York, and other places. Highly corrupt places. And bar associations trying to eliminate conservative and Republican lawyers so we can't fight back in court. All of these things require our immediate attention, because if we're going to have a peaceful counter-revolution, remember my book, It Takes a Counter-Revolution, Wake Up America, that you can get at freedomwatchusa.org with a contribution, tax deductible, I might add. We need an honest government, because if we don't have an honest government, this country will be gone in less than a year, probably. That's my prediction. And again, yours truly is always right. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Remember, the Father and Son will only help us if we help ourselves. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Until then, look at this Hunter Biden situation. It tells you everything about the way this corrupt government works. God bless you.